Okay.
And so that goes to my YouTube channel and to my LinkedIn page.
Mhm.
So that goes to my YouTube channel. And so there was a YouTube channel actually just right now starting. So I'm just going to close that page down. Did you hear it?
I did.
Yeah. So we know it's working. Okay. So hi, my name is Bill Prater, and welcome to Business Mastery Insights Hour, where our mission is to provide you with inspiration and tips and tools to help you in your quest towards business mastery. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how to get your business to #1 in the world. And I'll do that by giving you an actual case study of a client of mine where I was able to do just exactly that. And then I'll tell you how I've used the tool in slightly different ways to help a couple of other clients. And then I'll explain the tool itself with a little bit of a chalk talk. And after that, then we'll go into a private workshops with members of CEO Alliance. So that's what we're up to. And any questions at all, Janet?
Not at this time.
Okay, so what I'd like to do first is tell you about, well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a deeper story, a little case study. So this is a client in Washington State where they grow lots and lots and lots of apples and other kinds of tree fruit. And so I had a client in that space, and they were a pretty good sized client. They were doing well over $100 million a year. But in the agricultural business with little teeny margins, you need that kind of volume just to kind of stay afloat, really. And so I was working with the founder of the company, and he was struggling because he didn't have a real successor. And his 2 sons and daughter, they loved farming or growing fruit, if you will, and really didn't want to get involved with the business. They reluctantly were involved, but Tom was not going to be able to turn the business over to them because they would say no. And so he and I were talking one day, and he was telling me about his plight. And I said, well, you've got a grandson. And he said, and grandson, he's 28 years old. And I said, yeah, I mean, I know how old he is. Well, what do you think? And he says, do you think he could take over the business? And I said, it doesn't matter, Tom, what I think. It matters what you think. And whenever you think he's ready, he'll be ready. And I'm here, to help him grow the business. In any event, so Tom was getting ready to turn, I think it was 60 in his late 60s. And so he said, tell you what, I'm going to have a party for the whole company, and I'll announce my succession idea at that point. So he did. And so all of a sudden the company went from having the founder in charge to having this very young man in charge, who, by the way, in addition to working for the company, actually had some corporate experience as well. So he wasn't a total novice when he came in. But in any event, they're in the commodity business. And if you know anything about commodities, you'll know that in general, the market pressures push the price down because they're all the same, right? Apple's an apple, a peach is a peach, a pear is a pear. So everybody that's buying wants to have the cheapest. They'll look for the sales if they're a consumer, et cetera. The retailers are looking for low prices from the wholesalers, and the wholesalers are looking for low prices from the farmer, and that whole thing goes on. So it's not a really profitable kind of environment. But I went through an exercise with the executive team, and I showed them a tool, which we're going to look at today. I call it the 9-box tool, 9-box tool. And I'm going to show you exactly what we did in a moment. But first, I'm just tell you verbally what happened. And so, not to name names, but most of us know that the large retailers of all kinds of fruits and vegetables are the giant companies, including people like Costco and Safeway and Myers and IGA and the list of grocery chains is gigantic. And then if you add the world onto that, then we've got a much more gigantic thing. And all of those chains are looking for high quality fruit, lowest possible price. And so here this company wanted to get bigger. The now CEO wanted to grow the company, make it very meaningful. I don't remember if he actually had the idea of growing to #1 in the world, but they were successful at, in fact, getting to #1. So over a very short period of time, they went from being a supplier to being the world's largest, if you will, grower, shipper, marketer of, in their case, apples. And so, John, if you like, you can turn on your video. That'd be fantastic. And so what we did is we used this 9-box tool. So I'm going to show you exactly how that tool is used in just a couple seconds. But I'd like to tell you another story, a similar story, using exactly the same tool for a different reason. So once again, we're talking about the 9-box tool. So this company is a construction company, and they're successful. I happen to be in Rotary with one of the 3 founders of the company, and we were talking about his company's desire to be the largest commercial contractor in the entire region. And so they were going from being a successful, relatively large company to being the biggest. And so I went through an exercise with them, similarly to what I did with the agricultural company. And the net of it was that I asked them to tell me who were their, if you will, ideal or key clients. Who was their ideal or key clients? And they named a couple of people. And I said to them, what do those 2 companies say when you ask them how you can do business with them? Silence in the room. No one in that company had thought about actually making a call on these companies to ask them how they could go about doing business. Both of those companies built numerous buildings every year, but they never thought of that because the construction industry, well, I told you about agriculture. That's a commodity business. Everybody tries to get the lowest prices in order to command the market. In the construction industry, generally, most companies wait for some developer or owner to want to build a building. Then they'll set out requests for proposals, an RFP, and the construction companies will respond. They'll price the job out, and they hope to win it by being the lowest price offer. And my proposal was, no, don't do that. Go talk to these owners and ask them how you can win the business. So the third one, using exactly the same tool, the 9-box tool, was a software development company, and their need was being able to hire and retain very high quality software developers or software engineers specifically. And so we used the 9-box tool to help them not only hire the right folks, but to keep them around, if you will, for the duration. And so same tool, 3 different uses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do a sort of what I'll call a chalk talk. And I'm going to share my screen here. Here we go. Take a second. Goes very fast unless you need it to go. I mean, very slow unless you need it to go fast. Okay, so there we go. I think we are set there. So now I'm going to share the screen. And there it is. Boom. You can see the screen now, right?
Yes.
Good. John, you can see the screen? Okay, so $9. So here's the way to build one. I usually just like to draw a tic-tac-toe environment like that. Draw a box around it. So first, I'm going to show you the agriculture company. So we're talking about looking at their existing clients from two perspectives. And so the way we did it with them is this. Number one is we want to list the clients out. Now, you don't know them, but I'll list some of them and then just put some lines. So I already mentioned a couple, Costco, Walmart, Safeway, Myers, etc., 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 etc. Step one. Step two is to, I like to use letters instead of numbers because I don't want the numbers to be confused with priority, i.e. 1 is the top and 2 is second. So I just use letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. And then it would go on, J, et cetera, until you get to the end of the client, of the customers, if you will. Mm-hmm. Now, I like to be as simple as possible and get the most results. So if you think about any customer, what you'd like, maybe, I think anyway, would be fun. We'll call it fun. You could use love. In other words, you want a relationship with the customer that's one that's very, very good. And so I use the term fun. I need to move that over. So we got another late arriver right there, Bruce. So one axis is fun. And then the other one I use is I'm going to call it gross profit. When I show you another couple of these, you'll see that it isn't vital that that the numbers that we the axes, if you will, that we use, it isn't vital we use these. It's just vital we have two. So in this case, we're going to go through the company and tell you what I did. And that is, I said, okay, let's talk about Costco. So Costco, how fun is Costco? Now, this is my memory. This is a few years ago. And I'm going to say they said it was a 4. 10 is great, super fun. 1 is grim. And so how is it working with Costco? And they went through and explained it's really fun. You go there and you get beat up by the buyer. And you got to get your prices lower, and you got to get you got to remove the stale products that are turning rotten, et cetera. And it's no fun at all. Well, how much money do you make? Well, we don't make very much money. Let's call it a 5. Walmart. Let's say so. You think about Walmart. Walmart's got a reputation. Most people think of Walmart and they go, geez, I don't want to work with Walmart. And in this particular company's case, they had Walmart scored about a 2. Profitability wise, let's say it was a 3. Safeco, I'm just going to wing some numbers here. 5, 6, 3, 7, etc. So then what you do is we got to label these matrices. So let's call this one here fun. So this is a 10. This is a 1. And let's label this one gross margin. So here it is right here. This is a 10 over here. And this is a 1 over here. So now what we want to do, next step, is we want to plot these customers on this chart. So the way I like to, and you can't see my pen floating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change colors. And I'm going to show you this by actually sort of drawing on here. So if you go right into, if I put my dot right in the center, right there, that's 5, if you will, 5 on the fund scale, 5, and there's 5 on the gross margin scale. So we get a 5, 5 right there. Now, so if you look at Costco with this A, the fund would be down a little bit because it's down here to a 4.
Mhm.
And we have them as a 5. So there's Costco right there is an A. Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, now next comes Walmart. I start in the middle. We look at fund and it's down to a 2. So here's a 2. And then the profitability is a 3. So this is around a 3. So here we go with a B. Then Safeway is a 5, 6. So a 5 on the fund scale, a 6 on the profitability. Here's Safeway with a C. Then we can do Myers with a 3 on the fund scale. It's right about here. And profitability is a 7. So it's about here. So that's a D. And let's just put some more on here. E, F, G, H, I, J, K. That's enough. I think you get the picture. So now we got all these plotted. We still haven't gotten ourselves to number 1 in the world though. Because so we think if you look at this list, and I know none of you are in the agricultural business, none of you are in the retail grocery business either, but I think you've got a general idea that, for example, this company here is huge. This company here is huge. And these are a little smaller, but the top 2 are pretty huge. So if you could figure out a way to get the numbers for those 2, Walmart and Costco, up into this space up in here. I'm going to switch colors again to let's use purple. So let's say we could get them up into this space here. So we got I think we have a B. Here's a B. We want to drive them that direction. And the A, we want to drive it that direction. Ultimately, we want to get up in this space here. So the question is, how are you going to go about doing that? So imagine I'm in the room in this company, got all the executives in the room, and I just took them through this diagram. I did it up on the whiteboard, up on the front of the room. They've got this, and I say to them, remember I told you earlier about the story about the construction company, and I said, why don't you go talk to them? So I said, why don't you take this diagram to Walmart and tell Walmart that you'd like them to be up in this space here. You say, we'd like to get you up in that space. We want you to be real fun and make a lot of money for us. And so they did that. And they went down to Walmart and they said, hey, we got this goofy consultant telling us we should come and talk to you guys about having a fantastic relationship with you and making a whole bunch of money. And the guys, people at Walmart said, okay. And they said, well, how? I said, ask them, how would you go about making that move to get from down in the chart to up in that corner? And here's what Walmart said. Walmart said, you know what? Thanks for the question. None of our vendors ask us questions like that. We're really pleased you did ask us. You know what our big problem is? Our stores don't know how to sell apples. All they do is they get them into the back and they bring them up into the front and they empty the apples into the bin and put a sign there that says 49 cents a pound. That's what they think is selling apples. And people come to Walmart and they go there and they see 49 cents and they just got done being over at Safeway where there were 79 cents and they go, okay, we'll buy some. And so what we'd like you guys to do would be to teach our stores how to merchandise fruit. If you were to do that, we would be delighted to pay you more money, and we'd love to have you work with that. So anyway, so long story short, so they basically created a partnership with Walmart, and subsequently almost all those companies on the list that I'm showing you here. Basically what they did is they would go to the individual Walmart stores, and Costco's the same thing. By the way, Costco was one of my clients back in the day. So back when they were a startup company. So they're organized in districts and then regions, et cetera. So all those have as a store manager, district manager, region manager, and if you will, through all segments. So in this case, we're talking about fruit and specifically tree fruit. And so what they did is they went and they actually worked with each of these regions and taught the stores how to merchandise apples in a very nice way. Now, if you go into Walmart today, you'll see that the apples are nice in nice pyramids. They look beautiful. When the supply goes down, the people come in, they restock the shelves, they keep all the poor looking fruit off the shelves and in the bin, etc. The result of it was that this company is now the largest grower, seller, merchandiser of apples on the planet. So they did that with this young man who started at 28 years old, and now he's just about 40. So it's been over the last, well, actually they were number one about 5 years ago. So it took him until his mid 30s to get the company up to number one in the world. So that is, if you will, a 9 box in that space. So let me show you a couple more. So we're going back. I'm going to show you the same idea, and I'm going to change the axes. That's really all we're going to do here. So once again, you draw a 9 box by drawing a tic-tac-toe and drawing a box around it. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to switch it up a bit, and we're going to go to I'm going to leapfrog over the construction company and go to the software development company. And what we're doing now, because their need is recruiting high quality talent. That's their objective and need, is recruiting high quality talent. So what we're talking about is we've hired these software developers, and if you can think about this, I know this is not your spaces, and you're going to be competing for a software engineer with Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google. The list goes on and on and on and on, and they pay a lot of money for these people. Now you're a little teeny company, and you got to figure out how you're going to be able, one, hire these people, and two, keep them around. So I propose to them that they have the following 2 axes, and one would be, let's call it productivity, and on one axis, and on the other axis, let's call it excuse me, potential. So productivity and potential, meaning you've hired a software engineer. How productive is this person? How do they do in a results producing fashion on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis? 10 is fantastic. 1 is, I wish we wouldn't have hired them. It's dismal. And then second, potential. Potential meaning how much upside do they have? How far can these people grow? How much more do they have? So again, same idea. 1 is low and 10 is high on productivity. 1 is low, 10 is high on potential. So those are our two axes that we want to use this particular time. So let's just list some people. Alice, Joyce, Matt, David, George, etc., etc. Again, A, B, C, D, E. So let's imagine George here, number E, is a brand new hire. We just brought this person in. So productivity-wise, they're brand new. They're likely to be done in this area here. They're brand new after all. So let's figure that's where George is. But potential, let's say George is a high potential hire. At least they think so. He's brand new. But let's just plot George up there like this. So we got George plotted well up there. Alice, on the other hand, has been around for quite some time. She's very productive. So let's do that same technique I showed you a little bit earlier, and that is hover the pin in the middle. So we say, okay, here's Alice. So let's first look at her productivity. You can do this by yourself, but if you're in a group of people, then we need a consensus. So is she average, a little bit above average, etc.? Let's just say that the team moves her over to this point here. So she's, let's call that a 7 on a productivity capability. And how much potential does she have? Let's say she's got quite a lot of potential. So here she is, and she's an A right there. So there's an example of how we would plot that person. We'll do one more. And let's say Matt, here, C, his productivity is high. He's very, very, very talented. And he's got a high productivity rating. So that would be high, move over this way, productivity. Let's say he's in this space. Now, how much upside does he have? Well, he's been around, he's great at his current job, but when you look at the future, he's probably close to topped out. So he's going to end up scoring someplace down in this space here. So there's 3 people. The rest of them end up being on here. Let's just say we're going to have a, what do we got left? A B. Here's a B, and here's a D. There's 2 more people. So now our goal as a company, software development company, is we want to make sure that we do not lose a couple of people. We don't want to lose any of the people that are, for example, up here in the high potential space, because that's our future. We don't really want to lose people that are really producing well, because that's our future as well until this person gets old and tired. So what I do with this is I add another set of lines, and let me show you what I do. Is I'm going to use brown, I like to change colors. So brown. So if you draw a line, a little loop like that, and another little loop like that, and another little loop like that, and I don't know how many of you have ever read a book called Top Grading. I'm not sure if we've got that book review in CEO Alliance right now or not, but we might have that book review. And in any event, the goal would be that you want to get to A players. So here's A players, and maybe this is an A+ player up in here. These are Bs, these are Cs, and these are Ds. So what we need when we get done with this staffing model here is we need to treat these people differently. So we need a strategy, if you will, a different strategy for the people in, for example, this space versus the people in this space versus the people in this space down here. And maybe this one here is figure out how to manage the person out of the business, versus this one is don't lose this person at all costs. Same with these. So that's exactly the same tool used in a different way. So again, the tool we're looking at here is the 9-box tool. Let me give you a quick summary. 9-box tool. We create a 9-box tool by drawing. I like to draw. You could have certainly a template, a tic-tac-toe. Draw a box around it. We've got an x-axis and a y-axis, and we need to label them. 1 is low, 10 is high. Nothing magic with 10. It could be 1 and 5, etc. Then you want to list. You want to list a variety of items. X-axis, y-axis. Number them, score them, if you will. 5, 7, 9, 8, 5, 4, etc. Label them A, B, C, and if you have more than 26, it would be A, B, B, etc. If the list gets too long, the chart will look too messy. So what I do when I get in that environment is I just create another set of 9 boxes. So another set of 9 boxes would look like this. Make sense? Yes, yes, yes. So that is the kind of a 9-box summary. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say goodbye to the people that are live streaming with us, and we're going to break into a private workshop. In order to do that, I got to stop sharing and then stop our live right now. So we're no longer going live. Bye, folks. Thanks for sticking around. And the CEO Alliance members will hang in here. Okay, good. I saw that, John. Okay, so did we stop the recording? I didn't want to stop the recording. I'm going to continue recording. What I want to do is stop the live streaming. Here it is.